All right, beautiful people. Welcome back to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And as usual, I have with me the beautiful, the currific, the ultimately rare, the
Yes.
galactically brilliant
Yes.
Queen herself.
I look forward to
Talk
this
to me.
part of the
I,
week every time.
I know.
What's up, party people? My name is Sinclair, aka
The
the
health
Health Nerd.
nerd.
And yeah, we're sitting here on a lovely, we got another pretty nice day.
It is a nice thing.
Saturday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeling meditated just about like 25 minutes ago, not too
You did.
long.
It seemed like a long meditation. I don't know if it was because it was right before the podcast. So I was nervous that you weren't going to make it on
I could
time,
tell.
or if you were really meditating for a long time.
Um, I mean, I think I have the app to set to 5 minutes,
You do 5 minutes
but
of
then
savasana.
I go past that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's impressive. I do a solid two. I'm saying,
Okay.
all right, yep, I got it. Okay, let's get it moving.
No, that's my favorite part.
Really?
Yeah, because I have like I do like two different breathing exercises. So like the first couple minutes, which like today I didn't actually finish the first half until it was already like at the end of the. It's like, all right, thanks for the. I was like, yeah, quiet. I'm still
Get some music.
right. So I do like the first I do like body part by body part of just like relax that,
Mm-hmm.
deep breaths. And that just helps like slow my because it's after the yoga and sometimes the yoga be strenuous. So I'm like, let me get my heart
Listen,
rate back down, let me relax. And then I go
just don't
into
sleep on yoga. I feel like
no.
we see yoga on TV and it's like, oh, that's not a real workout,
I promise
bruh.
you, it's like, oh, that looks easy, and you try it, and you're like, what in the world?
Right.
So yeah, I do like that part first, and then the second part is the um box breaths.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, release for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and I do that for another couple minutes. By the end of that, I'm like,
Sleep.
what is problems?
Love it. Hopefully, y'all have been doing some type of meditation workout. Y'all know we've been preaching meditation, yoga, daily affirmations, all that good stuff. So hopefully, you've picked up one of those along the way.
And it doesn't have to take long, right? You
Mm-hmm.
hear 2 minutes is effective
Two
for them.
minutes, and it's free. So quick weekly check-in before we get into it. How the frequencies? I know right now your frequencies are super high, but I don't know if they were super high all week. Yeah, let us know.
I feel like they were pretty good for the most part. Because I feel like I was on my back on my grind this week. It felt good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like solid. Of the 5 days, I was like, all right, wake up, do your full morning routine. All for at least I want to do the full morning routine for 5 days, and then I wanted to do a workout at least for 4 days, and I did
Mm-hmm.
that. So I felt
See
good.
you, Queen.
Thank
Well
you,
done.
thank you.
Let's
Trying
get
to
it.
back
Let's
to
get
it.
it.
And then I feel like the part of my morning routine, the like basically patting yourself on the back for stuff you did the night before, like
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely starting to help me. Like, all right, help me like keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's like okay, my love language is words of affirmation, so I'm giving them to myself, and I see that it is helping.
Love it.
Yeah, so I feel like they've been between that and I feel like it's been a pretty productive week.
Mm.
So I feel accomplished. I feel like I've earned this weekend.
Yeah, right.
Even though we're still gonna do stuff throughout the weekend, like work
Yeah, we
stuff.
still working.
Yeah, but I feel like the latter half of the evenings when we do relax and turn up a little bit, I feel like it feels earned.
Uh-huh.
It feels a little
Earn your leisure.
Exactly.
That's not not a free promotion because earn your leisure is a thing. I didn't sign up. Shout out to earn your leisure. But yes, I feel you.
Yeah. What about you?
Before I go into me, I want to give you even more words of affirmation because I think one of the excited yes. One of the really dope days and I think moments this week was I forgot what day it was to be honest with you. Maybe Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday when we were both packing up the self-love sweatsuits.
Mhm.
I think it was dope. Like I was editing videos and then you were doing the quality product control of it and then package them in the beautiful boxes. And if y'all buy a self-love suit, definitely go to Truvel Forever, buy them. They drop October 24th. They're
November.
November. What time? What is time? They dropping next week, 11/24. But yeah, beautiful packaging. So I just love it was just a dope moment. Like, again, I was editing videos for Playback Wall Street, and I'll talk about that in a second. You were packaging stuff, and then you gave them to me. I finished the packaging, and I just love the full service teamwork that we were doing. And then they went out the next day. Shout out to our self-love ambassadors out there. So yeah, I want more days like that. I think, well, not like a lot more days, like 1 day a week or 2 days a week, where it's like that. I just feel like we got a lot done that day. Mm-hmm. So then again, earning that weekend. But for me, my week was a little bit on the stressful side, and that's kind of the motivation for today's podcast. You'll see it later on. Ooh, it almost came out. I almost said it.
I felt it.
I almost said it. I'm gonna try. This is a family-friendly podcast, so I'm not gonna try to cuss at all. But there is people out there who have energized me a little bit. Yeah, get them, Queen. So, but anyway, so the week started off a little bit, stumbly, but I feel like I used that for a lot of motivation. A new kind of web series or Instagram series, whatever you want to call it, that we are doing with Play Black Wall Street. It's called Black Study Snacks, where we're basically taking giving you bite-sized knowledge for hungry melanated minds. That's our little tagline. Thanks. Thank you very much. So it's just like really short, like 2 minute, 3 minute videos, mostly for folks that are trying to learn about Black history, Black studies. It can be for students, it can be for grown folks, but trying to put that more on IG to it helps me research more and learn more. And now I'm reading literally every day to come up with new stuff. I love history, love that stuff. So I feel like that's been good just to dive deeper into that information. But also hoping to take these smaller videos and then be able to create actual courses for them later on. So very excited for that project. Very fun. I feel like, again, I was motivated from a little bit of revenge and anger, but I'm able to produce love and good content out of it. So I like that.
Take it, make it something else.
Yes, convert that negative energy, convert that anger, that frustration. Hate is a strong word, but convert those negative feelings into positive results for you and people out there. Yeah. Love it. And that's not even a topic of today, but but overall good week. Oh, and I can't talk about that partnership yet because the ink hasn't dried, but there's some good partnerships coming up. Y'all stay tuned. Play Black Wall Street, Truvel Forever. We're doing the darn thing. So
also really good news. You look wonderful in pink.
I thank you, Queen. I do.
Like a little chocolate covered strawberry.
Shout out to Rare X. That's another partnership with Truvel Forever, and really that's family. But shout out to Markel, Rare X for swagging us out with these. The Queen got one. I got one.
There's nothing. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there's these X's on the back. Boom. Real is rare. Be authentic, be genuine, love what the brand stands for. 10% also goes to supporting foster youth. So again, love what the brand is standing for. So go ahead and go to rarex.com, get yourself some swag, support. They're also the ones that we help collaborate with to create the self-love sweatsuits, which will be on our website. So yeah, shout out to Markel, shout out to the whole team on the Rare X side. Keep doing what y'all doing. And they weren't even they're not a sponsor. They just gave us some shirts. We threw it on. We weren't even planning on talking about that. It just happened. Much love. All right, should we do a podcast? You ready to get into it?
I suppose.
All right,
we're here.
Let's go. So today we're going to be talking about how can you take ownership and responsibility when things go wrong. Mm-hmm. Right. So we all have plans out there. We all have, things that we want to get done. But sometimes there's barriers along the way, whether it's people that mess you up or, let me not cuss, whether it's people, whether it's organizations, whatever it is. Sometimes things go wrong. But how can you take responsibility of it and move better in the future? All right. You ready?
Ready.
So let's get into the episode. So, taking responsibility. First, I want to kind of talk about why that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why is it important to take responsibility? I can go, you can go. But then we want to give y'all some real world examples, things that are happening in our lives that we, see as like, okay, that went wrong. Initially got a little bit, frustrated in it, but then how can you take a lesson from that? How can you take responsibility and move forward so that doesn't continue to happen? Right. So, Queen, do you have any just nuggets or words on why it's important in general to take responsibility when things go wrong?
I think that.
And all the dramatics was to obviously give you time to think about it in case you wonder.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
I think that taking responsibility is important because the only way to make it better is to change something, is to improve something, right? So if you are okay with how the outcome was and you're okay with it happening the exact same way the next time whatever the situation goes down, then yeah, you don't need to take responsibility, you don't need to change anything. But if it really did affect you, if it really did anger you, if it frustrated you, then that should fuel you to do something differently next time. I always say, like, pretty much in any type of relationship or any in anything, like, it takes two to tango. So yes, there are situations where it's like this really was, out of my hands. But that means that, again, the next time, let's figure out how you can have more control in that situation so that whatever the situation doesn't happen again. But yeah, I just feel like in order to actually move forward and improve from the situation, it requires some type of self-reflection, some type of assessment of yourself to figure out, is there anything I could have done to make this maybe not even either not occur or just less of a blow to whatever whatever occurred. Yeah, so I feel like it is a necessary step to actually move forward in life. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in the exact same place.
Right.
And again, you're liable to the same exact thing happening again.
Right. So to that point, I feel like I've said this to you, but yeah, when this situation happened, I did not say it to myself until later on. But you can't get mad at stuff that you can't control, right? You can only control your own actions, right? So I feel like when you blame other people or you blame the system, although we obviously know there is systematic oppression, but when you put blame onto other people and responsibility on other people, and then now you don't change, like the Queen said, that same thing is going to continue to happen. So you have to figure out, all right, if you know this system is going to act this way, if you know this person is going to act this way every time, cool. How can you interact with that engagement to get the result that you want?
Right.
Because you can control your own actions. Or you can now say, all right, you know what? I'm no longer going to deal with that person.
Right.
I'm no longer going to support that business. Right. Remove yourself. And now you don't have to deal with that. So again, we're going to go through some examples. We can, what's it called? Tennis rally back and forth. Mine are going to be a little bit. Mine are going to be a little bit business focused. The Queens, for the most part, are health focused. But if you have business ones, feel free to do those as well. But all right, let's switch over to the examples. Hey. All right. So for me, example. About a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago at this point, we went to Game School Con. Dope experience. And for those that don't know, this was in Anaheim. Shout out to the Game School Con team. They allowed us to come on in, show our game to folks. And then we were also able to sell games and be on several panels. But in that, although it was a very beautiful experience, it didn't have the African diaspora, the Black representation that we would have wanted on the game side. On the people who were their side, there were actually a lot of Black families in the homeschooling community, which again, the homeschooling community was kind of new to me at the time. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I like the vibe here. Like everyone's meshing together. Is a very diverse community. But when you look at the other side of the people who are on the panels who are gaming, that wasn't as diverse as the community. So talking with the game school con folks, it was like, how can we replicate this type of energy, this type of event, but for Black game makers, right? How can we have a space where Black game makers can come and show off their stuff? They're like, oh, we would love to help you set that up. You should actually reach out to this other organization. They might be a good fit for you. But da, 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 da. So I was like, cool. We meet with that organization. I'm not gonna go into the full details of it, but long story short, we had the idea as Play Black Wall Street to do this amazing game idea. We reached out to this other organization to partner with it. They liked the idea. We wrote the entire workshop or the entire proposal for it. And then, long story short, they reneged on the partnership, on their word. And I'm trying not to cuss. And then they went off and did the event kind of as if it was their own event, their own idea, their own branding. They took complete ownership over it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
right. So, first of all, this is, again, I was extremely angry at first, and the queen saw me, and y'all know I don't get angry.
He doesn't. He
Like,
really.
I
I
really
could tell. You could hear it. It's like a certain pitch in your voice. It like cracks a little bit, and it's like normally that happens when someone's about to cry. But I know that for you, that just means you're angry.
yes.
And I heard it in your voice.
It's like I'm beyond angry, and more so beyond angry because the person who I was dealing with, they were dodging my calls. Like we had a talk months ago about this very thing because I saw that things are going a little bit left. Like, can we have a conversation? We had a conversation. He was like, oh no, don't worry. No, it's all gonna go well. Yes, we know you're a partner. And I was like, all right, cool. Felt good. Never talked to that man ever again. I was texting him in meetings. That man disappeared from the face of the earth. But his other associate was in contact. So I was a little more upset because she was contacting me, but I'm not angry at her, but she's the one talking to me. And I'm not okay. Anyway, long story short, because I'm falling down a rabbit hole right now. My fault was being the optimistic trust person, right? Thinking that people operate in the honor code that I operate in. I'm a very strict, like if I say something, I don't need a contract to be bound. Like if I say something, it's got to get done in business and personal. Like, all right, cool. Markel knows very well. Like we have a lot of word is bond relationships. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that with people that I maybe don't know. Yeah, I don't know like that. So that was my bad, and I learned from it. Right. So again, initially angry, but the learn from it was Devon, you're in a business world right now. You cannot trust people.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. Even people who you see as possible associates, friends, whatever it is, don't trust people. Get a contract, get an agreement, record it every single time because you never know the other person's intention. And that's for everyone out there who's coming from the same love place, honorable place that I'm coming from. Not everyone else out there is coming from the same place as you. So please don't get taken advantage of like we did over here. Only let it happen if once, right? Hopefully zero because you're learning right now from it. But if it happens to you, only let that happen one time. Only let it happen one time and learn from it. So the lesson that I learned from it is we had a meeting with another person. Mm-hmm. And this is another person who we see as honorable, who we see as another person who could be a really good partner, just like this other people who we're never going to work with again. But I was like in the live meeting with them, like they were saying all of the numbers, all of the metrics, what the partnership can look like. And I was like, great. So next step, should I draw up a contract or should you draw up a contract? Because I want to make sure this agreement gets solidified. He was like, oh, you know what? Click record on the Zoom, took notes. He was like, this is going to serve as an official record. This is how much you would get paid. This is how much we would get paid. These are the then, this is the done. I was like, cool. And then I'm still going to send a follow-up email for the records to say, hey, this is what we said. This is what we established. Moving forward, these are next steps. Boom. Glad to be partner. Glad to do business with you. All right. So yes, very angry at first, but I feel like it's better to learn that type of lesson early.
Yep.
Very good to learn this early in our journey because we have so like where we are in our trajectory, we're very much so at the bottom, right? So the money potential that we have to lose, the partnerships that we have to lose is greater on this side than it is on this side. So I'm very thankful to be able to learn that and just see who's real and who's not early on in the game rather than 5 years from now or 10 years from now.
Think about, like, we've learned a lot of lessons early on, even with like the Kickstarter. Like it's so much better to learn them. Yes, it sucks, and I feel like you're gonna, and like what they say a lot of times on the S2S podcast is like you're gonna go through a lot of the hard stuff at the beginning. But it's good, because if you get past that stuff, then you're on the trajectory. As long as you keep going, you will be successful. But yeah, I mean, you're like, when you start out, you are going to absolutely go through these hurdles, and it's almost like the weeding process. Like if you let it get to you and you're like, well, we're not supposed to do this event, then that's exactly how life weeds out who is supposed to be, who is successful and who is not. It's these things that happen, and how you react to them. Again, right? You can easily take the route where it's like, man, at those people, and and I can't believe they
real
did this.
Is rare.
Yeah,
man. See, this is crazy that we're wearing these shirts right now. Real is rare. You cannot trust everybody out there. So get your business contracts, have it recorded, because real, authentic, general, honorable people are hard to find these days out there. All right, so hopefully you're listening, you're real out there. Connect with us. We love y'all, we support y'all. But sorry, Queen, go ahead, keep it going. I just got
it's there. But no, I think it's important to, one, that we are blessed that we have gone through these things early on. But two, it is important to realize, especially early on, that you have to move forward. And unless you do take the responsibility early on, then you're not going to move forward, right? It's going to stop right where it's at. And you'll look back on it years later and be like, man, you remember when those people, and you're still going to blame them, which it's not to say they're not at fault, but you blaming them puts all of the energy outside of yourself. Which is all we're saying is that you need to put the energy back into yourself, because like you said, you can only control what you do. So putting that energy out to them is literally doing no good for you. It may make you feel a little bit better momentarily, but at the end of the day, right, you're not able to move forward from it. So you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right. And one more point, and then I want you to get into your example. So, get it mentally lined up. Is we could have also, and I feel like the Queen was probably wanting me to do this, but internally I didn't want to do this, was we could have not participated in the event. Right, so it was, and it was, I was on the fence whether I wanted to, but ultimately, I didn't want to pull out, because there was other game makers who I'm in association with who are also part of it. So I just felt like the loyalty and the optics wouldn't have looked good as a brand. But so we still did the event, and we hosted a workshop with a Black-owned bank, a dope Black-owned bank, and also another entrepreneur out there, Dr. Tone. So we were able to make connections. Now, the bank bought a board game from us. Right, this morning, actually, they bought a board game. I went into the system, sent them 2 board games, and then also put in a custom note. So from this event, it would be dope if we're able to partner with that bank, Black-owned bank, later on. This other person who was a high performance coach, which I think we may want to talk to him a little bit, but he's also very into ownership. And he now also follows the Play Black Wall Street page. And during the convo, like we led a panel, and at the very end, he was like, "Oh, I'm also very passionate about ownership." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, we need to continue this conversation." So now we may be able to partner with them a little bit more too. So again, when you take responsibility and still step up to the opportunity and perform and represent yourself and your brand honorably and to the highest level, opportunities still come. So even though they messed up, and that opportunity maybe not there anymore, other opportunities open from that. All right, so let's transition. Hope y'all got a lesson from there. Let's transition to the Queen now.
So an example that I can think of that especially is health related, and is very timely, is within COVID, obviously with quarantine, stay at home, especially in California, they've been much more strict about the.
Yeah, we got curfews out here.
Yeah, we're literally starting today. We're on a curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
I'm already asleep by then, but still.
You know, darn, we can't go to the rager we were planning on. But it is so easy to gain weight right now, because especially if you are working from home, because literally the things that you would normally go do to be active just on a normal basis, walk to your car, get in the car, you know, walk around your office, go and get lunch, go to the gym, go pick up your kids. Like these are all things.
Go to the bar, go to the party.
Like,
all
yeah,
like
exercise. Yeah, like those are all things that just in natural, just living life that keep you active. Right. Without doing all of those things, you are expending significantly less energy. However, being at home by the fridge where there's food all the time, a lot of people, including myself, have been, I mean, not I feel like not in the last couple of weeks, you know, been on it, but at least before, eating more. Right. So think about just the balance, right? You're expending less energy, you are doing less things, but you're eating more.
Right. Even if you were eating the same, you would still gain weight.
Regardless, right? Regardless.
Indeed.
So obviously that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for weight gain. So I, you know, freshman 15 is a thing. Quarantine 50, I don't know what it is, but
the COVID 50.
Yeah. Obviously it is really, really easy to gain weight. And, you know, even, you know, between the two of us, but especially me, like weight has been fluctuating a lot during this quarantine, where it was like at the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm not going to let it get to me, you know, started the fasting, and we started doing the smoothies hard. So I feel like at the beginning I was doing okay. And then after a while, you're like, okay, well, we don't know how long this thing's going to last. Yeah.
I feel like for you, it changed when you had to start going into work. I feel like you were much better, and I was much better because you were keeping me accountable when you were here and I was here.
Yeah.
I feel like once you had to start going to work, it messed up the entire system that you had already set up.
Agreed.
And I had set
up. But yeah, it did. And it was those things. And then it was like, well, now I'm stressed. I have anxiety. So let me eat this to, you know, to feel that instant gratification or whatever. Dopamine. Yep. And then it was, oh, well, we're going to San Diego for the anniversary. When we, you know, this is our traveling for the year. So we eat meat, we enjoy ourselves a little bit. And again, because it was like, this, we don't know if we're going to get another trip this year. I wouldn't say we went crazy, but we ate good.
Yeah. I would say, you know, we did what we should have done on vacation, right? When you are on vacation.
We ate good. Yeah. But that's a very hard switch to turn off when you come back, especially in this current environment, to go back to normal, because there is no normal. So I feel like that definitely messed me up. That trip coming back from that messed me up. And kind of after that, still in the mindset of like, well, let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's just eat what we want. We're in quarantine. Why not? It's stressful, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of, you give yourself an excuse to eat whatever you want. So yeah, I had gone back up. And so I feel like now I'm on the way back down. But it is very easy to blame the situation that we're in, right?
Very,
very easy to be like, I can't even leave the house. How am I supposed to get 10,000 steps? It's so easy.
Talk to me, Fitbit. How?
To be like COVID-19, hey man, it's just it's also like almost normalized, right? When you're on Instagram and you're seeing people that, you know, everybody's getting a little more fluffy. So that also in your head normalizes it and gives you another excuse of like everybody's doing it type of thing. That mindset, again, all the blame is outward of yourself, right? At the end of the day, you still have full control over what you put in your mouth and what physical activities you do. No, you can't go outside. That does not mean you have to sit on the couch all day. That there's no law that says you cannot exercise inside your own house. And so there are still a lot of body weight exercises. You can still go out on a walk, right? You can still go on a run.
Mhm.
You can still go on a hike. So there are still ways to be active during this time.
Right.
So if you are, and again, this is me. There's a conversation I had with myself, right?
Mm,
If you are not going to exercise, you are deciding not to exercise.
mm.
And I feel like I had the very, very upfront conversation with myself. Like either you are going to
If
exercise.
you're talking to yourself and you know you're talking to yourself,
It's okay.
you're
Okay.
okay.
Right. I was
But if
aware.
you don't know, you may have a problem. All right, good.
But I talking to myself, knew it. And just saying, like, are you going to decide to not exercise and gain weight? Again, that is a decision you are making.
Mm.
Or are you going to decide to make it happen, burn some calories, go on a walk, go on a run, wake up early? Yes, I do have to still, I'm back going to
Yeah.
work full time. So best believe I am waking up at
5:15.
5:15.
5:15. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's when I on the days I've been doing 5:30 because I didn't really have to be in for the 8 a.m. meetings, but next week I'm really gonna have to be back in like at 8 a.m. So 5:15, it's still dark outside. I am having to wake up at that time to get my morning routine, to get my workout done, and I'm just like, make it happen. Like
Mm,
there's no excuse not to do it besides I just don't want to.
mm,
So that is the example that I had. I feel like I'm back on it. I feel so much better, and these are more things that I write down in my journal that I feel better when I do get up. Yes, it is more energy. Yes, I don't necessarily sleeping in feels nice. But even this morning, like I woke up at 6:30 naturally.
yeah.
So it's like even when you're on the grind, your body wakes up like when you're once you starting is the hardest part, right? Once you start, especially like on a new sleeping schedule, your body will naturally adapt. So long story short, I feel better when I am working out, when I am on my grind, when I am eating better, when I am paying more attention to what's going in my mouth.
Mm,
Like it is more self satisfying, and I physically just feel better. I look in the mirror, I'm like, okay, I see you. And it fuels you to keep going. But long story short, I had to look inside and say, it doesn't matter what is going on in the world. You cannot blame COVID-19. You cannot blame Gavin Newsom. You cannot blame other people for your weight gain and your inability to stick to what you say you're going to do.
right.
So yeah, that's my example. I feel like it took a very real conversation with myself
Mm.
to be like, that's it. Let's get on it. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop blaming the situation that you're in and make it happen, period.
Period. Regardless. So we're saying we know there's a bunch of things happening. We're also going through those things, but it's taking that self-talk with yourself and knowing you're talking to yourself and saying, okay, this is the situation. What do I have control over? Can I do 10 body weight squats before I eat dinner?
Right.
Can I go on a walk every night before it gets dark? Or can I wake up in the morning and go on a walk? Like what do I have control over and access to, that way I can still take care of my health, because health is important, hopefully to you, health is important to us. So figure out again in your what you have control over, how can you stay healthy.
Like a walking meeting.
Yeah, walking meeting. Or like I stand up during a lot of my
Mhm.
work meetings. I'm
Mhm.
standing. I'm like taking steps. People are always like, "Oh, Devon, what music are you listening to?" I'm just like, "I'm not. I'm walking in place." They're like, "Oh, interesting." Or I have my punching bag in here, so I'll punch the bag sometimes during meetings. Sometimes I'll bring in my weight. So it's like, yeah, how can you now? You have your schedule. You have what your life looks like.
Mhm.
How can you build health, business, quality time, whatever are the things that are important to you, build it around this new normal, because I hate to tell y'all, we're going to be on lockdown for at least another 6 months.
Oh God, don't speak that
I'm
into
sorry. Like
existence.
it's going to be, I know I'm working from home until at least March, and most universities or UCs have said they're going online through June. So I feel like in California,
Mhm.
we're going to be on lockdown for at least another 6 months. So you might as well build your life around what this looks like. That way you don't continue to go not so good.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Don't and also they could forget about the gyms, right? Because we're not sure how long the gyms are going to be open. Do not make your, like he said, do not make your plan based off if the gyms are open,
Mm-mm.
because they're going to shut down again. I'm pretty sure they're already shut down again. So don't make your plan around, well, if the gym, because again, that's outside of your control. have a plan that I do this workout, whether the gym is open, closed, whatever. This is what I do.
Perfect. All right. So flipping back over to me, we'll do, I don't know how long we've been talking so far. We'll do one more example each. So for me, another example, again, got frustrated at first, not nearly as frustrated as the first example, but got frustrated at first. But then the queen gave a suggestion. Then I started to, okay, how can I take responsibility over this? So y'all know that we have sometimes guests on the podcast. We try to bring in business owners, experts who can basically, teach you about their own stuff. Sometimes guests are either late to the podcast or they miss the podcast entirely, right? Which happened, not no shade to anyone out there, but it can get frustrating as the host. Like, you do your research, you set up these questions, you set up the camera out the angle, you get mad at the queen for being late. The queen finally shows up, she's on time, cool, we're all ready, set to go, and then the person who was scheduled doesn't show up. So it can seem frustrating. And again, it's very easy to be like, oh, they're late, they did this, they didn't show up, what's happening? But you got to take a second to be like, hold on, this is our podcast, right? We are in control of it. So what can we do on our end to make sure every single time, or 80% of the time, folks do show up? So the queen had a great suggestion. She was like, well, she had a great question. She's like, oh, well, did you ask for their phone numbers on the intake form? I was like, huh. No,
because we're always just sitting here like we'll email them, but it's like Lord knows if they're at their computer or whatever. But a phone number, allows you to be like, hey, what's up? Where you at?
Right. Yeah, so that was like a great thing that, again, me taking full responsibility, I didn't put on the intake form because I didn't think to do that. But having a good analytical, critical partner is like, oh no, Devon, like, put the phone number. So now, best believe, probably shortly after this podcast, we're going to edit the intake form. It'll have a phone number on there. Another thing that I thought about was we need to be a little bit more clear on what time zone we are in. So when we say 3 o'clock, when we say 2 o'clock, it means 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, where someone might be getting on the podcast from London, from Detroit, from Houston, from China, wherever it is. So if we say 2 a.m., they're like, or 2 p.m., they're like, cool, they're on at 2 p.m. And then it's 1 a.m. for us, right?
We sleep.
Right, we sleep. So again, what can Devon do, or what can Truvel Forever do in order to make sure that these things don't happen? And one of them, easily add the cell phone number or extra point of contact. Great suggestion, Queen. Another thing is communicate that it is Pacific Standard Time on the intake form, and that when the calendar gets sent out, it'll be adjusted to their time, but make sure ahead of time, again, Pacific Standard Time. And I'm sure there's more things that we can think of. A backup topic. Yeah. So every time if someone doesn't show up, we now have to like take a few minutes, right? It takes like 30 minutes for us, not crazy time, but I feel like we would want more time to prep. Right. We need to take 30 minutes to now think of what's the topic going to be. But if beforehand we had already talked about it, like, all right, this is what we're going to do. If they don't show up, this is the topic. Now at 11, at 10, at 2, whenever it's scheduled, we're good to go regardless, if they show up or not. So again, another kind of business trip up, but again, we're getting it early in the stages. They're just small, like really small things that we can adjust to maximize the output. And to what the queen was saying a little earlier on, if you don't take responsibility, things will just continue to happen. So it's like we could have easily been like, oh, well, they're not showing up, it's on them. And then, we keep on doing it, and other people also don't show up. And then we miss out on that goodness. Y'all miss out on this goodness. So it's beneficial to stop, self-assess, and be like, what can we do? What can I do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Yeah. Queen, anything you want to sprinkle on that before you get into yours?
I think you brought it up. Like this is now the second time. The second time it's happened, right? So yeah, we could
technically 3 times, because also with other people that came on, and it was our fault when we sent it. When we sent it out to Focus and Frame. Shout out to Focus and Frame. We sent it out to them, and didn't I didn't realize that they were in Texas, so they were in a different time zone. So
Mhm.
they were on and ready on time at 10 a.m. Yeah, at 10 a.m. in Texas. But when we said 10 a.m., we meant 10 a.m. here. So we had to wake up extra early. The queen
Yeah.
was still partially asleep. And I was like, hey, babe, wake up. They're ready for the podcast. She was like, what? I thought it was at 10. It was like, yeah, but it's 10 in Texas.
I was like, what?
I was like, wake up. We got to go. So yeah, again, that was, Devon's fault for not doing the research and knowing, okay, they're in Texas. So 10 a.m. to them means this. So if we put 10 a.m. PST down on all communications, if on our intake form we say all times will be in PST, all times will be based on California, now it can be okay. We know from the jump it's 10 a.m. California time, and there's no confusion. So again, listen, y'all. If you follow me on Instagram, you follow us on Truvel Forever. I am very transparent when Devon messes up. I don't, not that I don't care if I mess up, but I'm not that person where it's like I want to keep all the times I mess up. I want to seem perfect. No. I put my imperfections out there.
Yeah.
We all can learn from them. I also rewatch a lot of our stuff, or I rewatch a lot of stuff that I post, so I'm able to learn from myself as well. So the more honest I'm able to be with y'all, aka the more honest I'm able to be with myself, now even I can also continue to learn from my own mistakes. So yeah, I'm very transparent. I mess up, we all learn from them. It's okay to mess up.
Yep. Okay, so I have two examples that I'm gonna try to fit in really quickly.
Oh goodness, is it gonna really fit into?
Yeah. Okay, so one is a health related and one is a business one, because I do want to.
Huh?
Okay, so one is when I used to hear all the time that I had high blood pressure, and I felt like I wasn't necessarily health forward, but I wasn't a super unhealthy person. So I was just like, why do the doctors keep telling me I have high blood pressure? Like, I'm young, I'm vibrant. Hey. Like, young people don't have high blood pressure. What are you talking about? So yeah, I used to always just be like, man, the doctors are tripping. They told me again. Guess what, babe? They told me again I have high blood pressure. They tripping. They tripping, right? Until I was like, Sinclair, there's a pattern here. They keep telling you have high blood pressure. And the other piece of the story is that my mom has always told me, like, yeah, I also had high blood pressure, so it's hereditary. So again, another reason, like, yeah, my mom, she had high blood pressure, so I, easy to just be like, there's nothing I can do. But again, another conversation with myself, which was like, what can you do to lower your blood pressure? And that kind of started a lot of the health stuff that we're doing today. So, right, when I stopped eating meat, that definitely helped. When I started doing yoga and meditation, that helped. Started consuming the green superfood powder on a daily basis, that helped. Like, all these little things,
all natural things.
Yes, and all natural things. Never went on medication, and that was they kept telling me, you need to get it under control. The next time you come in, if it's high, we're gonna have to put you on medication. And I was like, I don't want that. So yes, all natural. My blood pressure is now consistently normal.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? I brought a little home test thing, right? I wanted to take control of myself. I don't want to have to be like, well, next time I go to the doctor, which could be a year from now, like, I don't know. So I brought a home test because I'm taking control. So that's in a nutshell. All those things I did to lower my own blood pressure, and now I feel confident that I have full control over my health, and I don't need the doctor to tell me that. I don't need to blame the doctor. The doctor's just trying to do their job. So yeah. The other one I wanted to talk about is business related. It's about potluck.
So I want to do one more thing. Okay. So the reason why I really love that as well is, again, like that, your journey of taking control of your high blood pressure medicine or high blood pressure helped launch this whole entire business of True Health Forever. Right. So when you take the time to self-assess, again, it gives you options to now go through and do other things. And now, next year, I believe you want to start teaching a course on how other people can take control of their high blood pressure naturally without medicine. Right. Which I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are obviously taking high blood pressure medicine because that's what the doctor is giving them and they want to be healthy. Right. But then they take that medicine and that leads to something else, and then take this and then this leads to something else, and it's just
the whole system, y'all.
The whole system. So I love the fact that you being able to take a second to self-assess is going to help thousands and millions of other people later on.
Yes, millions.
See, all right, but second point, go ahead.
The second one is business related, about potluck. So if this is your first podcast you're listening to, potluck is an app it's a platform
Mm-hmm.
where foodies can get access to delicious and affordable home cooked meals.
Yum.
But long story short, it is a startup that we're just now, not just now starting. It's been about a year, but we are really in the recruitment phase for our chefs. So we're trying to get chefs on the platform so that foodies can order from them. So we've got a chef that's working through the process of becoming permitted through the county. So our business is reliant on the county providing these permits, but part of what we do is help chefs through that process. So this is right. I've studied the process of this is what you need to do. You need to get this certification. You need to become a food safety manager, blah, blah, blah. This is the application you need to fill out. These are the things that they're looking for. Help them put together their package and then send it to the county. So we've been doing that with one of our chefs. And let me tell you, the county has not been holding up their end of the bargain. And it took a month and a half to even get a next step from the county. So imagine you're trying to start a business, you're trying to get all of this stuff, and something that you rely on, they're taking so long to actually give you what you need. And not only that was only part of it. When they did get back to us, it was a laundry list of things that needed to be changed that is inconsistent with what they did in other cities within the county. Long story short, right? It shouldn't be that way, but it is, and there's nothing I can do about that. But I spent so long blaming the county, right? And I still blame them a little bit. Okay. Right? Like, they're taking so long. I was calling every week. I was emailing, blowing people up. Like, can we please get some response on this application? But when I got it back and it was this laundry list of things that are wrong with the application, that's when I took a step back and said, well, you could have avoided this extending it even further if the application was ready to go. So that was me taking a step back and saying, okay, these are the steps right now. So now we're in the phase of, okay, we need to alter our onboarding process to now meet these new standards of what they're looking for. Yes, they're inconsistent. Yes, they're a little bit nitpicky, if you're asking if I'm being very honest. But at the end of the day, that is what they're looking for to move forward in the process. So now we are going to alter our process and say, here, these are the guidelines now that you need to do, this is the type of things that they're looking for on the application so that we can get it approved on the first time. Like, that's what we want. Right. We want it's approved right when you send it
first
in.
Shot.
Okay, that's what we want. So yes, it was it for a very long time I was just blaming the county, but now taking a step back and looking like there is something we can do to move this process along further, and that is to really make sure that our chefs are set up for success and that they are, talking about the right things on their application, that they are aware of all the food safety protocols and things like that. So just again, if you are working with another vendor and they're not keeping their end of the bargain, yes, that is true. You're not taking anything away from them. They're not holding up their end of the bargain. But at the end of the day, you still have control of your business. So obviously, we don't have the choice to go find another vendor. We have to go to the county, but you can find another vendor, right? You can also have the conversation with them on, these are my expectations. Unless you meet these, we're going to find another vendor. You can also be, again, more upfront from the get-go and say, this is what I want from our partnership. And if you don't hold up these agreements, can we both agree mutually on these agreements? And that can be, something that you set up from the get-go so that hopefully you don't even have to deal with any issues of them not holding up their end of the bargain. Right. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there as another example of, like, you cannot always control how other people are going to treat a situation, but you can absolutely change how you interact in that environment to hopefully have it move a little bit smoother in the future.
Mm-hmm. Love it. All right, so thank y'all. Before we get into the official wrap up, any just driving home points, takeaways, action items that you have? I can go first. Is my one drive away point is, if you are in business negotiations and business conversations, make sure there is an official record of what is agreed upon. It's exactly what you kind of just said, but again, like, have your agreements. Okay, Truvel Forever is doing this, Rare X is doing this, Truvel Forever doing this, Sinclair is doing this. Have it laid out and signed, especially if it's someone who you do not have that like really good, deep rooted relationship with, and they're just a business partner.
But honestly, even if you do, because there is even those lines can get blurred, like
Sure.
if you're working with family or friends or whatever. So I would say, honestly, no matter who it is, go ahead and do draw up that, or even if it's a conversation that you just want to record to make it more a little bit more organic. But I would say, regardless, have set those boundaries at the beginning.
Yep, sounds good. Queen, you got one for him?
Um, I would say if you're in a situation and you're like, yo, this was not me, I had no control, there's absolutely nothing I could have done. Like, I want you to get to the point where you can look in the mirror at yourself and say, there is absolutely nothing I could have done differently. Right? If you can get to that point, then I mean, I argue that there's still always something we can do. There's always something. So I would just, yeah, if you've reached that point, maybe get somebody else's opinion. Maybe you're just too deep in it, too emotionally invested to figure out what you could have done differently, or what you can do moving forward. So get advice from somebody else, preferably somebody has an optimistic view on life. They're I can tell you from experience.
Completely different perspective.
Yes, completely different perspective. So find somebody who's solutions oriented. Find somebody who has a positive and optimistic outlook, and explain the situation to them. I guarantee you they'll give you one or two things that you can do moving forward to have a better outcome in the future.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank y'all again for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the
Health Nerd. We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true.
True.